when we speak about innovation in the construction industry, what exactly does it mean?
We talk about technology, we talk about adapting in terms of the technology in the building space. Conventional methods take so long, and with the new ways of doing, with the technology rather, it just shortens the lifespan of a project lifestyle, really.
How does it actually work? I've seen it on videos, and this thing is printing a house. It's like, so I thought to myself, so when it prints the house, do you now carry the house and you go put it somewhere? Like, how does this thing actually work? How does it work? All right, greetings to all our viewers. Thank you for joining us on this special podcast, a Brawl podcast in collaboration with Amedzo. And we are at the Big Five Construct Southern Africa. Let me tell you, it really has been a great and constructive time being here. I've stated time without number that the construction industry is one of the most strongest industry in any given economy, and therefore people need to take it seriously. So we've been here at the Gallagher Convention Center in Midrand, right here in South Africa, where we have different talents that have come together from across Africa to showcase the importance of this industry. Now, having said that, there's a question that always comes up. How many women players are in a strong industry such as this? Mining is the same thing, construction is the same thing. But I'll tell you, we've got a significant figure, and we've got women that are doing great things in this industry. And one such is the one that joins me today, and that's my guest for today. Please help me welcome and introduce Dr. Juliet Petla. You are amazing, if I must say. Welcome to the podcast today.
Thank you so much for having me, Yvonne.
Right. So you have done great work in this industry. I've always known you for this industry. This is what I've always known you to do. It's construction. And I know that in construction we have different arms to it. But can you just give me a brief of your profile?
Okay. Thank you. Dr. Juliet Petla is introduced. I'm the managing director, but I'm also a founder of Amedzo Trading and Projects. So what we do is we provide 10 key solutions within the construction fraternity. So I'll give you an idea of what it is that we do. So we do general building, and the general building is anything from ground to rooftop. So those are the building structures. So we do superstructures, particularly within the mining sector. And then we also do the finishes, which is the interior, your walls, your flooring, your partitioning. We also do the shop fittings. That's one aspect of construction, which is the general building. And then we also do what we call road infrastructure. So that's your roads. We've recently built a road with Robex, the Musina Ring Road, the gateway to Africa, one of the biggest.
That's a big road, actually. That was a big project.
Yeah.
So, when I introduced this podcast, I actually said it's a Brawl podcast in collaboration with Amedzo. So this is Amedzo at large.
Yes.
This is what you do, is Amedzo. Now, having said that, in the 3 days that we've been here, there's a lot of things that have been brought to the table, challenges, positive things as well within the industry. And I must say, being a woman caught in between all this is just simply amazing. But let's talk about the trends of the built environment, not only in Southern Africa, but let's say in Africa at large. What are we talking about here? What are we looking at? How has Africa actually been welcoming to infrastructure transformation within that space?
Okay, so I think the first one that we can talk about, I think two that we can talk about for me is adopting to new ways of doing business. We talk about technology, we talk about adapting in terms of the technology in the building space. We talk about ABT, and that's a big deal. It's something that we welcome because it takes away the conventional method of of constructing buildings because the conventional methods take so long. And with the new ways of doing, with the technology rather, it just shortens the lifespan of a project lifestyle really, and which is really amazing. And technology, of course, is a bigger aspect of it now because we're trying to work remotely. And you think, how do we then even incorporate that within a building sector? I mean, I run multitude projects sitting in Gauteng or sitting in Limpopo because all I need to do is just to have systems in place to be able to remotely manage these projects. Yeah.
Okay, so we're looking at an era, post-COVID era. A lot of things kind of like changed in many different industries, but let's talk about this particular industry. There's a new normal, so to speak, that has been introduced, which then speaks to the innovation that you spoke about. So when we speak about innovation in the construction industry, what exactly does it mean? Because, you know, if you're speaking to me, a person who's really not in construction, if you say innovation, I'm expecting to see a robot in my house that comes together with the house if I buy it, or in a commercial space, there's all sorts of technology gadgets in the walls everywhere we're talking about. Or are we speaking to the quality of construction in general?
Look, we talk about a lot of things. For a lay person, I'll give you an example. So a conventional method of building a structure, for example, where using brick and mortar, will take you quite a significant amount of time, depending on the multitude of the project itself. But when you look at the alternative building, it's like you're putting in steel structures and then you've got like a precast. So that on its own takes, it shortens the time it takes to be able to put that structure together. So that's the one aspect you look at. And you also obviously look at the technology in terms of how we as a director sitting in Gauteng, how am I managing a project in Musina, for example, and it's a systems that we put in place where I'm able to know, okay, from a project or quality management point of view in terms of how we're doing the work, what sort of materials do we need on site, how many are we using, and I've got a system that would tell me, okay, this project, when we costed it, we needed X amount of materials, but we've gone overboard. And then you start speaking to the project manager to say, what are we doing? Where are we stopped? So that technology is able to give you real life on site what's happening, even in terms of your stock level.
Really interesting. That makes life really easy. So does 3D printing, is it a part of the technology and the innovation that is being used right now in the industry?
Of course, we can't talk about it without talking about 3D. So you've got to really see this thing, visualize
it
it before
work? You know, I've seen it on videos, and this thing is printing a house. It's like, so I thought to myself, so when it prints the house, do you now carry the house and you go put it somewhere? Like, how does this thing actually work? How does it work?
So you've got this 3D print that says, okay, this is how this thing is done, and boom. Within a split of a second, you've got this technology brought in, this thing, so you're able to visualize it and bring it to life.
Oh, that's very interesting. Now, in one of the many sessions I've had in these 3 days, I've really been well informed, in the industry. There was a challenge that keeps coming up time without number. The issue of the construction mafia. How have you been dealing with that yourself?
It's such an interesting...
interesting but very
topic.
Disturbing at the same time.
It's interesting and very disturbing at the same time.
Yeah.
You're quite right. Look, I'm saying interesting because these construction mafias are people who do not... majority of them don't even run businesses. They're not business people. They are criminals, if you like. There's a gentleman who spoke about them as bad actors. So they come on site and they demand a portion of the work that has been done. And you try and want to say, can you qualify why you want a stake in this thing? Do you even have a company? No, they don't have companies.
Oh.
Okay, but they want a stake.
A kickback of some sort.
Yeah. So it's a disturbing part of it, because if you're talking about people who are coming on site because they've got legitimate businesses and they want opportunities, then it's a different topic altogether. But you're talking about thugs who come and stop the site because they just want work that they think they're eligible or entitled, maybe is the right word, for the project. That's one. And the second thing that is really disturbing is you've got people who are on site who are legitimate businesses and that are providing opportunities to ordinary South Africans, in terms of employment.
Yeah.
And the site is stopped. When the site is stopped, an ordinary South African cannot therefore feed their families because the site is stopped, whether it's 2 weeks or it takes a month. And I think for me the saddest thing is you as an employer, you get an interdict, court interdict to stop them, and
it goes nowhere.
The police don't want to be involved, So it's a very it's a very sad story, but it's a reality. It happens. You find those kind of things, and I hope that in the near future we'll come up with strategies to deal
absolutely.
with them.
And this is actually an appeal to all our legal fraternities, the people like in the police service, to actually help, because like I did say earlier on in the introduction, that the construction industry is actually regarded as one of the biggest employing industries in any given economy. Now imagine we manage it well, and then how many numbers of people that can actually be officially employed and earn a living out of it. I really like that. So this is an appeal to all our legal policymakers to actually try and address this issue. So another important aspect in the construction industry is skills transfer, mentoring and teaching people to be a part of this industry. How has Amedzo strategically positioned itself in that particular area?
Okay, so from a skills transfer, I'll give you an example with there's one project we did at the mine, this is DBS in Mosina. So what we normally do, because the biggest challenge we have in the construction industry is shortage of skills.
There we go.
Yeah. And I think with COVID, we've seen a lot of technical people leave the country because we could not provide the opportunities for them. So we've got a big challenge in terms of the technical aspect in the construction industry. So part of what we do is the few that we have, we hold them so dear. We, as Amedzo, we work on project pipelines. So part of what we do is we take our skilled laborers here, we take them to Mosina for projects that we're doing in Mosina, and we try and buddy them with unskilled laborers so that we're able to create the skills, or rather transfer the skills. By the time we finish that project, we would have been able to produce X number of people in the industry that are skilled. So skill transfer is a bigger aspect of what we do, especially in our local community. So we're big on that. And then in terms of mentorship, I'm passionate about mentorship, especially young women.
There we go. So women, there we go. Women power.
So where I work, I always try and make sure at least I've got 3 that I mentor for the duration of the project.
I'm joining the group.
You're most welcome.
I'm joining the group. Now we're sitting here today at the Big 5 Construct Southern Africa in collaboration with Bro. Amedzo played a really big part. What is your part in the Big 5? You've been working with it. It's 10 years in actual fact that they've been in this, and you have been a part of it, Dr. Julia.
I have been a part of it, but I now sit on the advisory board for the Big 5 Construct Southern Africa for the past 3 years.
That's big. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. And year on year, we look at different things that we can do. We look at the different content, different perspective that we can bring into the Big 5. And part of what we did this year really was, we're big in terms of bringing a government but we're not as big in terms of bringing the private sector and get them in one room. You know, the triple P is quite a big element to it. So over the years, we've been seeing how do we then bridge the gap? How do we then make sure that we close this gap and make sure that we've got public and private sector in one room? And this year, we're able to bring Broll as the real estate.
All right.
And
that's
we thought,
synergy.
wow, this is big. And they're coming in at the right time when we celebrate our 10-year anniversary or 10-year in existence as the Big Five Construct South Africa.
Okay, you can actually see a clear, bright future there in terms of the collaboration and synergizing. So Dr. Julia here is not just into construction. She is a powerful, inspiring woman that actually wears many hats. So apart from construction, she sits on different boards, one of which she just mentioned here. But at the beginning of this convention, on Tuesday, there was an awards ceremony that you took part in. And obviously you were recognized for certain things. What was your partnership with that?
Okay, so I was emceeing the awards, the Construction Impact Awards.
Okay.
And then we also sponsored them with the wines, Ramalia wines.
And this is the brand.
This is the brand.
There we go.
This is the brand, Ramalia wines. We've got 7 cultivars. We've got 4 reds and 3 whites. So that's
how do you then balance all this? You produce cements, paints.
Yes.
You are into construction, different aspects of construction.
Yeah.
You're also into wine.
And we've got water park in Messina.
You have a water park in. How is your day like? Actually, I would like to go through a day, just one day. We wake up together, we just go through the whole day, and just understand how do you balance all that?
You know, I think it's an interesting question. How does one balance all of these things?
How do you balance that?
Look, I think for me the most important thing is that having systems in place that works. So as I'm sitting to you right now, I've got a site that is running. All I need, I'm literally checking what's happening during the day. I've got 2 sites running. I'm literally checking. I don't have to be
through innovative ways. Absolutely.
Through innovative ways.
Okay.
So that's one thing. And then I've got the wines. I'm able to do the same thing. So it's a systems that makes my life really easy to manage, because then I can get to do the things that other people cannot do, like having this session with you today.
There we go. Now, Dr. Julia, in your closing remarks, I want you to speak to what is the future of the Big Five? What is the future of construction in general? It's a very important aspect. It's a very important industry. But what are we looking at? What should we expect? How do you encourage somebody out there who would want to participate maybe in the next year's one to also be a part of this?
I want to start off by saying this. When I started attending the Big Five, because it starts with self, you know. When I started attending the Big Five, I remember it was still called Totally Concrete Expo, and I sat down and I said, what impact do I want to make? What legacy do I want to build for myself? How do I want to participate? And that's a conversation I had with myself.
Okay.
And I look at where are the opportunities in the industry. And I can tell you, when I started participating, I did not sit on any of the boards. Today I sit on the CIDB National Stakeholder Forum, which is a regulator.
Okay.
I sit on SAC PMCMP. They are sitting right across. I sit on various boards, but in the industry. So I was deliberate about what is the future and what am I bringing? What value will I add into the industry?
Yeah.
But maybe to answer the opportunities in the construction industries are wide. So it's one needs to then position themselves and align themselves to the opportunities that are in the industry. We're talking about now, how do we rejuvenate the industry post-COVID-19?
That's it.
That on its own, it's a big opportunity. The government is the biggest economy stimulator, and they are looking at using construction. They've got 6 projects that are going to be stimulating. So that's one big aspect. They're going to be spending billions of money. So that's an opportunity for one to be in the industry. But it's just to position oneself to say, which direction do I want to participate in, and not be all over the show. You know, which direction do I want to participate in the construction industry? And then one then can plan that. And we're talking now technology. What you want to do be innovative.
Yeah.
You know, how would you want to participate? Because you can't say, oh no, I still want to use the traditional method of building. No, find a niche in the market to say this is the direction I want to take and participate in this.
Okay.
So that's what it is. And yeah, so to a young person maybe out there thinking, how do I enter the industry? Look, there's so many opportunities and we welcome women. And I think by virtue of coming in as a woman, you've got a competitive advantage because it's a male-dominated industry, but the government is pro-women. They've got so many initiative programs.
I heard the Minister of Public Works and Infrastructure, Minister Sihlezi Kalala, highlighting that in his opening speech, that the numbers, the data is very small when it comes to women, that they want to see more women participate in that space.
And I can tell you now, I mean, I'm a champion of the AWIC Awards, which is part of, it's an initiative
is
by CIDB.
Is there anything that you don't do? I thought I should ask that question.
In the construction industry, I am literally at the epic of everything that is happening.
That's very inspiring. That's very inspiring.
Thank you so much.
Wow, Dr. Julia Petla, isn't that an amazing portfolio? But thank you so much for making this happen. We're here today because of hard-working women like yourself. And obviously, we wish you all the best going forward. And we look forward to the Big Five Construct Southern Africa. Maybe this time around, it'll be construct the whole world. How about that? Anything is possible, right?
Anything is possible.
Anything is possible. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Julia, for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
And to our viewers, thank you for watching this special podcast. It's the BrollCast in collaboration with Amedzo.